All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's episode of Candid Convos with Celia Werner. We have an amazing guest lined up. We are going to be talking about pets today, pet care, and, learning a little bit about what goes into, taking care of our loved ones, our loved pets, when maybe we can't be home to walk them, or, like we're out of town, or, just learning more about great ways to like work with our pets in general. So we have Dan here from Dan's. Wow, it's hot up here. I'm losing my mind. It's Dan's dog walking. So we're going to have him come on, and we're going to have him talk a little bit about the company that he started up and the ways that they help our furry friends. So Dan, without further ado, how's it going?
It is wonderful. Thank you for having me, Celia.
No problem. I am like sweating up here. So
me too. It is so hot in our office.
I know.
All right, we're gonna take a moment.
Window,
Everybody who's live, we're gonna take a moment and open windows because both the places we're at are super warm. All right, good. I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Yeah, I know. I was wondering if you could go into a little bit about your background while I open a window, so I don't like start dying in here.
Oh, there we go. We got Moro helping with the window situation. I would love to. So I can talk a little bit about Dan's dog walking and pet sitting, which is what we're here to talk about today.
Perfect.
I started the business 10 years ago. I had a very simple idea, which was inspired by my work when I was working as a vet tech over at the Manhasset Animal Hospital. Got a couple of questions here and there from a few clients asking me to take care of their dog. So I put up a couple of flyers, and it ended up snowballing and becoming a much, much, much bigger business than I ever planned. Fast forward to today, we've got a client base of roughly 2,000. I have an amazing team of about 40 people. And right now we are in the thick of things with the whole COVID-19 situation, as all of you out there are also dealing with. We are getting ready to actually relaunch our business this coming Monday. So the past week has been a whole lot of work between myself and our amazing management team in terms of getting everything ready, making sure our team's got all the right protective gear, we've got all the right protocols in place, checking in with our clients, making sure everything is okay. And so it's been an interesting shift. The business has been growing a lot year over year for the last 10 years. And for any business owners out there who are dealing with the COVID situation, it has definitely had a tremendous impact. It was one of those things. I actually remember a couple weeks before all this started thinking, I started this business in the middle of the 08-09 recession. And I was like, this business is, for the most part, pretty recession proof. There's bound to be something. We're in the midst of that 10 to 15 year cycle in terms of the economy. And then, boom, a few weeks later, the economy stops, and everything I thought was fact and was going to be okay with the business proved to be otherwise. We unfortunately I had to furlough the entire team, and it was an incredibly difficult decision. I take my work and the work of my team very seriously, and they're not just employees to me. They're people that I really, really care about and want to make sure they're okay. So having to make that call was a very difficult decision. But fast forward the 60 some odd days since this has all started, we're getting ready to reopen, and we're excited to get things moving again.
Yeah, and I guess this is timed really well because, you mentioned that you guys are coming back on Monday.
Yes.
And, the world is in such a crazy place right now. And obviously you guys have been in business since what was it, 2008? So that's 12 years now?
November 1st, 2009.
2009.
Yes.
So 11 years. So that's over 10 years. So you guys have been building up, and you guys have been making all of your relationships and everything.
Yes.
And then you got a total curveball thrown at you.
Oh, complete halt of everything. We went from, we were seeing upwards of like 180 dogs, 200 dogs a day to, before we closed, we dropped down to like 30. And at that point, there wasn't enough information out there where I felt comfortable putting my staff out there and having them go into people's homes. So we furloughed the team, and I continued to walk a handful of dogs for, our clients who were essential workers. But it was a very abrupt shift. I was used to communicating with dozens of people every day, being in constant contact with my management team. And then all of a sudden it was like I was back at square one again. Now, my team's been amazingly supportive throughout all of this. But it was a weird shift going from having a full team, someone who's focusing on sales, someone who's focusing on, our HR and hiring, someone who's focusing on the oversight, Moro over there doing all of our amazing video content. And it was a strange shift. It felt very lonely for a little bit. But it also shifted me into high gear. I'm sure a lot of business owners out there have been reevaluating everything. We've spent the last month really going through and overhauling basically all of the systems that we use. We're going through our sales processes, updating that. We're going through all of our training materials because, while this was an awful situation globally, there's lots of people losing lives and it's a horrible situation. When your business stops short, it's jolting and it's very scary, but you also, if you shift your perspective and take a step back and look at it as an opportunity, that's really what this is. It's an opportunity to refocus your efforts, look at the systems that aren't working, and try to figure out a way to really make sure that you're delivering the best product or service you can for your customers. And that's really our focus at the end of the day, is making sure that whatever we're doing with our clients is the best it possibly can be every single time we deliver our services.
Honestly, I think that you can run a business seminar with what you just said. That is exactly what everyone should be doing right now. Reevaluating, figuring out how to, get better and stronger after everything that's happening. And I think that it's great that you took the time to evaluate all the systems, like you said, to figure out how you can improve. Because obviously we've been given it's been like 2 months.
Yeah. And if you're not doing it, your competitor is. So That's another way you got to think about it. You got to be sharpening all the skills, sharpening all your tools to make sure that when your business does reopen, you come back with improved systems and functionalities of the company and try to make it better. And this has been a scary situation, but it's been a really nice pause to be able to kind of stand back and reevaluate everything we're doing.
So I wanted to ask you, because, you're working with people's pets. You're working with basically a member of the family.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, what made you want to work with pets? Like, I know that you were working with animals, but specifically with pets, whether it's dog walking, or I know that on your site you call it cat visits.
Yes.
What made the draw for you to working with pets?
I've been an animal lover my whole life. When I was a little kid, by little kid I mean an infant, my dad used to put our then puppy in my crib with me. So since I was a baby, I've been around animals when I was a little kid. Frogs, lizards, dogs, fish, any animal that my parents would allow me to have in the home, I did. Thank you, Mom and Dad, for always letting me do that. And it's just been a lifelong love of animals. It's something that, it's just always been a part of who I am. And I call the business, really, it was a happy accident. I didn't plan on starting this by any means. I mean, the last 10 years have been a lot of hard work, but I was supposed to be going back to college. I originally went into school pre-med, and I was supposed to go back for my junior year. Car was packed, and I basically told my parents, I'm not going back to school. This doesn't make sense for me right now. And they're like, that's fine, get a job. So the next day, I walked into the Manhasset Animal Hospital, where I talked to Dr. Henriksen and asked him if he had any volunteer positions open, because I was interested in going to vet school at the time. And he said, no, but we could train you as a tech and we can get you all, I took the job. The next day I started, absolutely fell in love with it. And, it's a small hospital, so I got a lot of hands-on experience. And I had some really, really great teachers. So I got to develop this skill set beyond just, loving dogs, knowing how to recognize things like bloat, knowing what to do if a dog is in, if it has epilepsy and it goes into a seizure, knowing how to recognize certain things. So bringing that to the table gave me a competitive advantage over, what would eventually be my competition. And I knew two things: how to maintain eye contact in a conversation, and I knew how to take care of dogs. And that's what I started the business with. I had some neon pink flyers. I put them up at local train stations and people started calling. But yeah, it really, this all started from a place of passion. I was excited about being around dogs all day. And, at the end of the day, we at this company, I think I've got an amazing team that works very hard. But the core of what we do is we get to hang out with dogs and cats and all sorts of other pets, and you can't really beat that. Getting paid to do what you love. I think that when things do get tough, having that passion for whatever it is you're doing is going to be what allows you to push forward. I know that's what's been happening with my team. They've all been stepping up in amazing ways the past month. Everyone's working at hours and putting a lot of time and effort into what they're doing. So shout out to Kristen, Adam, Alex, Casey, Morrow, Julian, Dylan, everyone who's been putting all the work. Oh, Deb, all of you amazing people who make this company what it is. So thank you. Morrow's in here in the office with me.
Yeah, I heard him. I was like, wait, we had Morrow on here last week. But that's amazing, and I'd love to hear that. Like, you know, you realized that you had a passion for something and you ran with it, and you created this team, which obviously I've seen, like, on the website, you have a lot of people on your team, which is amazing that you were able to grow to that level. What areas do you guys work in?
So we cover essentially the North Shore of Nassau County. So Port Manhasset, Roslyn, Great Neck, Greenville, Old Brookville, Glen Cove, Glen Head, Sea Cliff, Oyster Bay Cove, Locust Valley, Old Brookville, Upper Brookville. Am I forgetting anything? Old Westbury, East Norwich, and later this year, Huntington, Centerport, Northport, and a couple of other places. We're expanding to the North Shore of Suffolk, Lloyd Harbor, Oyster Bay Cove, and then we're planning on covering the island in the next couple of years, then expanding up to Connecticut, Boston, Philly, DC, and then a nationwide rollout. So WAG and Rover, be prepared to file bankruptcy.
Well, I'm so happy to hear that you're so ambitious with all of the places that you obviously are going to be in the next weeks, months, years, expanding to. And it's great that you have such a supportive team. I had somewhere I was going with that. Oh yeah. So what services do you guys actually provide? Because I know that you have a bunch of them on your website, but what exactly do you guys do?
So we do, obviously, what's in our name, dog walking and pet sitting. So we do 10, 30, and 50-minute visits for dog walking. We do in-home overnight pet sitting, where one of our trained pet care specialists will stay at our client's home overnight with the pet, provide multiple visits throughout the day. We do medical visits, so insulin, post-op care. We take care of senior pets, special needs pets. We have one dog that we take care of who has an esophageal issue. So when we feed him, he has to be fed in a high chair. And then when we're done, we actually have to burp him like a baby. So we do things like that. We take care of chicken, any animal that somebody can legally own, we will take care of. And, you know, we do pet taxi services as well. We do trips to the vet, trips to the groomer. And since this started, we've also started doing just grocery store pickups and stuff like that. And then earlier this year, we launched our pooper scooper services. And then when clients are resuming services, we're actually going to be starting to offer toothbrushing, brush outs for the dog. And then later this year, we're going to be adding training and grooming. So we got a lot of fun things coming. And we try to really cover the end goal of what we're doing here is we want to be able to provide our clients with the best care across the board for their pets. So we want them to be, Steve, we do want to open in South Carolina. We miss Hudson very much. We really want to be able to provide our clients with the best services, whether it is dog walking, pet sitting, training, grooming, eventually veterinary care. We want to be in all aspects of an animal's life in the same way that when you go to a Starbucks here in New York or over in South Korea and you put your order in, you know exactly what you're going to get every time. That's what our goal is as a company. Every time you use our services, you are going to be getting the quality of service that I have held this company to since we started. That's one of the biggest parts of what we do is the quality of the training. We spend a lot of time training our team members, and we've got a whole team dedicated to quality assurance. Like being able to do this at scale, it's a balancing act of you want to grow the company, but you don't want to grow too fast. You want to make sure you're maintaining that quality of service, because at no point should quality of service be compromised for growth. And that's why we're doing things in such a strategic way.
I think that's also why you have such a dedicated following of people, because you make sure that everyone that is going out and working with all of these pets really knows what's happening and what they need to know before going and, interacting with these animals, correct?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, especially even with now coming back on the 18th, we've been spending the last couple of weeks like combing through video after video about every potential PPE protocol, making sure that our team has all the right materials with the KN95 masks, making sure everyone's got gloves, hand sanitizer, the Lysol wipes. We want to make sure that not only are we protecting our clients, but our most valuable resource as a company is our team. And if we don't take care of them and make sure they're taken care of as members of this company, nothing else is going to work. So making sure that we're setting them up for success is the way we set the business up to be successful.
That's probably the smartest business plan that you can really have these days. And I'm glad that you're doing that. And like I said, Dan should be running a business course right now, But,
I just like talking. As long as you put a microphone in front of my face, I can just kind of bop all day long.
Yeah, I'm the same way. Like I've been, speaking about branding and about all these different things the past few weeks. And I'm like, oh, the lights are on. Let's go. We're going to talk about this now. But we do have a comment, and it's from Eric, and I know you know Eric, and he says, don't tell Moro, but that waste pickup video that you guys did was very good. And I know that you guys are very proactive with social media and branding. I know I've seen the Dan's dog walking car out there. I've driven past it, and there's all of your branding everywhere.
Yeah.
What inspired you guys to, be so proactive?
The thing I realized very early on, I don't think I realized it from like a technical business standpoint, but I realized, hi, Moro. Oh, hi, Juliet. Sorry, you guys have the same profile picture, and it's really confusing, so one of you needs to switch it. Back to our regularly scheduled programming. I completely lost my train of thought.
Advertising.
Okay. So I realized very early on that people trusting me was going to be something beyond trusting me. They needed to trust, how do I move? This little guy right here, the logo. So after I had my first logo, I spent a lot of money on making sure that my team was branded to the point where like other companies would make fun of us because we try to brand everyone head to toe. One, I think it's nice from a work standpoint, being able to have some gear from the company you work for and rep the company. But at the same time, there's accountability put into place. So if somebody sees my employee not following things the way they should be, we get notified. But if they see them doing something in a really positive way, we get notified. But brand recognition was something that I think just became a part of the business model. And then about 5 years ago, I met a very tall guy who came into my office on his first day of work, and his name is Moro. And I said, hey, you can edit videos? And he was like, yeah. So that day we went to Best Buy. We bought a GoPro and an obscene amount of like connectors and GoPro add-ons and stuff like that. And he has been at the forefront of all our amazing content for the last 5 years. He does an incredible job making this company look very, very good. And, a lot of the content you guys see out there comes from his brain. He puts a lot of time and effort into the very funny, silly, educational, all sorts of videos you do see out there. So again, it all goes back to the team.
I'm waiting to hear an awe, but I haven't heard it from this time. But yeah, Moro's been really proactive on that, which is amazing. And
oh yeah.
How much return have you seen from people saying, hey, I saw that video, or hey, I found you guys on Instagram? Because I know that I tell people all the time, like, consistent good content is really going to help your business, but they're like, oh, well, do I really need to be making posts once a day, once a week, whatever? So I don't think they kind of understand where I'm coming from with that.
Oh, what you're saying is absolutely true. Just to put it into, I guess, actionable information.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, Joe, we miss you. We miss Ella. At the end of the day, putting out consistent content that people are going to be watching is a great way to get people to engage with your stuff. Up until now, where we're building out new sales funnels and ad campaigns, I don't think we've actually run real advertisements for about 3 years, and the business has grown 30% year over year for the past 10 years. So that really boils down to us making sure that we are heavily branded. So investing in, company gear. I pay my staff that have their cars wrapped. But other than that, that's really the only form of advertising. So the way this business has grown has been two things: just people finding us on social media and all the crazy, silly, fun content we put out, and referrals. So it's, the customer service and the quality of service, and then just content. If you can make sure that you can put out consistent stuff, and don't worry about how good it is. We look back at even the stuff we did 5 years ago. I know Moro cringes. I still think it looks pretty good compared to what I used to do. Because if you go back 10 years ago on our Facebook page, whoo, I was piecing things together in PowerPoint with clip art and I had no idea what I was doing.
You were doing something though. That's the important part.
That's the biggest thing to take away is if you're worried about, oh, what should I make? Stop it. Just make something and put it out. And if it sucks, all right, it sucks. You learn what doesn't work and you just keep going. And over time it will get better. But you can't be impatient. These things take time, any massively successful, and I'm not calling myself massively successful, but anybody I don't know, Elon Musk didn't turn into Elon Musk overnight. There are people who out there who it's years of grinding, Damon John from FUBU, years of grinding and putting in work to build a brand, build a company. It doesn't happen overnight. And you see all the success they have, but you didn't see them when they were in their mom's basement building their business, which shout out to mom and dad for letting me run the business out of their basement for years. But that's a huge thing is you got to be patient with what you're doing because you have time. Life is super long and there's no real rush, and stop worrying about getting a fancy car. I drive a really, really crappy $800 pickup truck. So don't worry about that stuff. It doesn't matter. Just things.
Of course. And, is your car wrapped? I know. Of
course it's wrapped.
Okay, so I've probably seen your car when I drive to Eric's house then.
No, that's Moro's brother's car.
Okay. Well, it made an impression. I remember it. So, that you did something right, or he did something right by getting his car wrapped. So Dan, what would be the biggest thing that you learned or the biggest takeaway from, developing your business for 10 somewhat years? What is the biggest lesson you've learned?
One of them is save money. In the beginning of this business, I didn't have much overhead, and I was 22, 23, and the business was growing. Very irresponsible at the beginning. So definitely make sure you got a rainy day fund set aside. I'm sure everyone has been kind of checking their finances since all of this has happened. So save your money. Don't be so arrogant and think you know everything, because you absolutely do not. You need to make sure you are constantly educating yourself. Make sure that honestly find people who are doing things that you want to do and try to be of value to them and see how you can learn from them. Because that's the one thing I wish I had done, was seek out people who basically had made mistakes so I could learn from their mistakes instead of me having to make the mistakes. Really being able to get out there and put yourself in touch with people who do things that you want to be a part of, and try to learn from other people and never stop trying to educate yourself. So making sure that you are constantly reading books. There's literally no excuse to not know how to do something anymore, because in your pocket, you have the absolute ability to connect with any piece of information you need on earth to learn about anything. You got YouTube, you got Udemy, you got all the podcast platforms, you got books on tape, you could download books. There's no excuse anymore to not be able to learn how to do something. And, that's something that every now and then I catch myself. I'm like, I haven't been reading enough, or I haven't been listening to enough books on tape, or this or that. I've been doing this for 10 years and I still feel like I don't know anything. And that's something that if you keep yourself thinking I got to keep growing, I got to keep evolving, it's going to always keep you ahead of the curve. And that's, I guess, some of the things I've taken away from 10 years of this. Oh, also always have a good lawyer and a good accountant.
Yeah, that's very important.
Those are because they're like a gun. You're gonna want them. How does that go? You need it. You want it. You want them.
When you don't need them? Or no, when you do need them?
That. And then the other thing. You guys know what I'm saying. I got tripped up. They're just really important.
Yeah. And I love that.
You'd rather need one and have it than not need one.
Nope.
You'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
You'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it. All right, nailed it. We got there. It took us a while, but we got there. And that is a business lesson.
So one of the things that you were saying is investing in yourself with learning. And, I've been doing that a lot, and I've been listening to a lot of business podcasts because, I want my business to be successul after this. So, learning about selling, about like putting on different kinds of events and all.
I've seen a lot of Gary Vee in you too.
I have not watched a Gary Vee.
What?
I have not.
The way and the amount of content I've seen you churning out, I was like, she's got to be listening to Gary Vee.
I literally made like a list in my email of a draft of saying different people to look into, and he's at the top of the list. I just haven't made it there yet. I'm listening.
Get some of his books. Some of his books are fantastic. Tim Ferriss is great, but also like people who have run successful businesses, like Richard Branson. Like one of my favorite quotes is from him. It's treat your customers like gold and treat your employees better than your customers.
Yeah, Richard Branson's a very smart man. So
yeah, so people that you look up to, if there's a book written about them, about their life, go read it. Like the best way to learn from people is learn about those people and what they do. Tim Ferriss is another great one if I hadn't said that one yet. But yeah, there's tons and tons of great people out there, and there's so much free information. Oh my God, I remember 10 years ago, I mean, there was still the internet, but it wasn't like this. Like it is, you could do everything from your phone. I remember my phone I had when I first started the business was awful. Look back on like pictures it would take, they're terrible. You could do everything from your phone. There's just no more excuses. So any excuse you're telling yourself, you're totally full of it.
Yeah, and that's what I've been saying about making content.
Yeah.
Because, oh, I don't have the right camera. Oh, I don't have lights. No, you have your cell phone and you have a window. So use the light from outside, use your cell phone, and you can make something.
Done is better than perfect.
100%, because, not every single thing that I did, and I kind of flubbed the intro of this web show today because, it's a million degrees in here. The window's open now and it's gotten a little better. But, we're still going, we're still doing it, and I'm going to leave it in for the podcast because, I'm not perfect, but I'm getting things out there. I'm getting in front of people, and, that's the number one thing right now.
Life isn't an Instagram feed. You can't polish and put a filter on life.
This is true. And, we're talking a little bit about podcasts and stuff. And I know that you and Moro started one. Yes, thank you. I'm sorry. What is your podcast about?
It is about cool animals. The podcast is called Let's Talk About Cool Animals. Moro and I started this, what was it, a few weeks ago now? For those of you watching, Moro is just right over here.
April 29th, we put out the trailer. May 11th.
April 29th, we put out our trailer, and then this past Monday, we put out our first episode. So basically, the general gist of our podcast is we find interesting, cool, heroic animals from throughout history, and we do a real deep dive into the details of their story, and we try to put a entertaining and comedic twist on some interesting facts and some educational content. So our first episode was about a incredible pigeon named Cherami, who was responsible for saving 194 lives during World War I. Next week, we have an episode about, for those of you who had a childhood involving the movie Balto, you probably know that name, but his lesser-known counterpart, who is actually way, way, way more responsible for what happened up in Nome, Alaska, his name was Togo. And it is about the teams of sled dogs that were responsible for saving thousands of lives up in Nome, Alaska during a diphtheria outbreak. And we're going to be talking about all sorts of interesting animals. Ham, the astro chimp. Who are the other ones? There's so many. But, if you've watched any content that Maura and I have made over the past couple of years, including our recent Dog Walkers Try videos, we try to bring a little bit of entertainment and comedy to what we're doing, because I think that if you're going to learn about something, it's more easily digestible if it's funny.
Yeah, I noticed that. You guys have done a lot of interesting, content over the years. You've done Dog Walkers Try Dog Treats, and, I've seen Moro dressed up as dogs before.
Yes.
How did you guys come up with that as like your branding model? Like, fun and, I don't know how to describe it. I would love to hear a little more from you.
Honestly, we really, the branding component becomes a bit of an afterthought, and like what we add into it afterwards. We really try to make content that's fun to make, and stuff that we think people will find entertaining. Because at the end of the day, Maura and I both like making people laugh. And that's really the goal, or cry in some of our videos. It's either laugh or cry. We want to evoke some sort of an emotional response in people, because, if for a couple of minutes, if someone's having a crappy day and we can make you laugh, that's selfishly, that makes me feel good. But yeah, we make content that we think is entertaining or educational or informative, and then we tie the business in towards the end. Like even with the podcast, we're not like dance dog walking. No, it's, we got our logo smacked in there. But at the end of the day, we want to just make entertaining, fun content for people. That's really, it's being creative and making this kind of stuff it's something that I find to be very enjoyable. I find it to be therapeutic, because I've got, the business side of things, which it's a lot of numbers, looking at, data metrics for the growth of the business and all that stuff. And I do love that, but this is a different kind of outlet. So we're at a really fun spot in the growth of the business, because we're big enough where I have people who are all doing amazing work on different things. So I don't have to be doing everything anymore. So I get to start focusing on some of the fun things, because, I had a period of time where I was out walking dogs, 12 hours a day, 7 days a week, a minimum 12 hours a day, 7 days a week. So it's been a nice shift in the past few years. And a lot of that is thanks to our amazing management team and our staff.
I love that you keep bringing it back to the fact that you guys are a team. That's awesome.
I can't walk 200 dogs a day. Like I am absolutely nothing without my team.
You can't be Santa Claus and get to everyone's house.
I've tried, and I got very, very sick my second year in. I ended up almost passing out. My brother had to drive me from house to house because I had like 103, 104 fever. And after that, I was like, all right, I got to hire somebody. So I did try to do it all myself. But at any company, at the end of the day, like, you got to get rid of ego. I have a pretty healthy size ego and healthy amount of narcissism, but I will never sit here and take full credit for what we do, because the success of this business is it boils down to the team. You got to build a team of people who, one, believe in what you're doing, and care about the end product, whether it's, you're making something, you're making videos, you're making a product, you're delivering a service. I know that every single person that works for this company, at the end of the day, will go above and beyond for an animal. Like, doesn't have to be for me, doesn't have to be for their coworker, but if there is an animal that needs something, they are going to take that extra step and go the extra mile. And that's one of the things that has really been a cool part about growing this business, is getting to meet all these people who are passionate about the same thing I'm passionate about.
You're talking a lot of amazing things about the team, but I'm looking right now at all of these comments, and you have such a good relationship with all of these people, I'm assuming, because I'm getting
thank you, Susan.
Team and Dan the man, and earlier we had like people saying that dogs miss you, and like how important is it to have a good relationship with all of your clients?
It's the most important. It's the same way you relate with your staff. You need to build those relationships with your clients, because at the end of the day, if a client thinks you're just a number on a page and you don't actually care about their animals, they're not going to stick with you. Like, through this, our clients have been incredible. We didn't really publicize it, but we put up a GoFundMe to make sure that our staff had some additional income during this. And we raised a very hefty amount of money in a very short period of time. Like, it blew me away how much money that our clients are willing to donate. And that's really because of the relationships that we've built, because, you know, what we do is it's different from hiring someone to come do electrical work or plumbing work in your home. You know, that work is very important. But when you're hiring someone to take care of your animal, if you're an animal lover, it's a lot of trust that you're giving somebody. Because I know for me to trust someone to take care of my pets, it's, you know, I need to really trust you. And that's a special relationship. And that's something that's never been wasted on me. I realized it very early on. I remember my very first client meeting, and they gave me a key, and I was like, this person just trusts me. I was like, oh, they trust me because they saw how I was with their animals. They could see, and, you know, they're putting their faith in me. And that's something that for the duration of this business, I've never, ever taken for granted, the trust that our clients put in us, because, again, without the clients, we're just a bunch of people trying to walk dogs. So it's, you know, it's really important to build those relationships with your clients. And at the end of the day, I think we've done a good job conveying how much we do care about not only their pets, but them as well. We've been really trying to, you know, keep them in the loop during all this. We miss our clients. I mean, I've had relationships with clients blossom into something really, really cool. I actually started a business with somebody who was a former client of ours. It was a tech company called Smartline that we built and sold to a mobile payments company. It was a waitlist management platform. And he's one of my closest friends to today. I think 7 years ago or 8 years ago I met him. But like, I've watched his kids grow up now. Like, it's been really cool. And that's all because of this business and because of the fact that, you know, I really value the relationships that we've built here. And that's one of the things that, honestly, scaling the business is where, you know, there's always a solution for things. And, you know, it's really a part of the culture we're trying to build here is the importance of the relationships with our clients. But that's one of the things I'm a little scared of, is as we grow, I want to make sure that I recognize it's not going to be me having a relationship with all these people, but bringing together the team of people who are going to want to build those relationships and are going to be there for their clients. Because, you know, every now and then something is going to happen. Like, we've had over the years plenty of moms going into labor in the middle of the night. They'll text us at 3 a.m. and they'll know that we'll be there in the morning to take care of the dog. Like, yeah, we're not doing brain surgery here, but knowing that we are there to take care of your pets, it's, you know, I always said we're in the peace of mind business. So when you call us, text us, email us, and we say we're going to be there, that means we're going to be there.
And you covered everything so fully on that I don't even have a follow-up question. You're very good at, like, obviously speaking and communicating, because you keep tripping me up because you're answering my questions before
I do have a problem with running on, which is something people give me feedback on all the time, that I'm long-winded.
Long-winded is long-winded. So obviously, like, relationships, communication, these are all keys in your business, because obviously, like you said, people are trusting you. People are letting you guys come into their home and play and walk their family member, basically. So it's so important for people to have the trust and the communication with you guys. When you have someone who's like a new prospective client, what is the process to get them, you know, in touch with you and you know, moving towards having you guys take care of their pets?
So we've been directing them to fill out forms on our website. So they fill out the website form. Then a member of our management team gets in contact with them. And then based on their needs, we put together which team members are going to be kind of like their dedicated pet care specialists to start with. Then one of our managers, primarily Alex, shout out to Alex, will go over to the house with some of our field managers and a few of our pet care specialists. And they'll go through every aspect of how we're going to be entering the home, talking about the GPS tracking that we use, the thorough training that our staff go through. And then we go through the individual needs of their pets. So, you know, we have clients who it's just, you know, come take the dog for a walk. And then we have clients where it's very detailed in terms of their dog's needs because of a medical issue, or it's a senior pet, or, you know, we've dealt with dogs that are partially paralyzed. We had an amazing Frenchie we used to take care of who was in a wheelchair. So I would go over, and Alex would go over twice a week to express his bladder. It's the needs of the clients vary widely, but taking the time and the attention to detail and really sitting down with each client when we start to make sure that we are getting everything right and documenting everything and having that process so that no matter who has to come in, everyone knows exactly the protocol, and making sure that every person that's coming to that home is being trained by either a field manager or one of our team members. There's never anyone going in blind. I think that, Wagon Rover solved a great problem in this industry, and that was staffing, because finding people that you are willing to trust to come into your home has always been our issue. It's always finding the right people. When we find them, we don't want to let them go. So I love all of you. Please don't leave. But Wagon Rover, they miss a huge component of this, which is they're just sending anybody into a home without any, yes, they have things written down, but the person's never been introduced to a dog before. So what if you have a dog that's been in and out of, shelters, has been abused, and has a specific fear of tall men? That happens. Dogs dogs can have very specific fears, and taking the time and going that extra step to make sure that everything is understood and everything is documented and everybody knows how each visit has to go is what is going to set us up to be successful. And I think that's where those companies have really, really fallen short.
Yeah, that is invaluable information for you guys to be collecting, because I know my mom, she has 4 dogs.
That's amazing.
He has 3 mini schnauzers and a Bichon Poodle mix. The Bichon Poodle mix, yeah, he'll go out, he'll come in. But, one of the schnauzers, if you try and pet him, he might bite you because he's nervous around new people. And one of them, she likes to stay outside, and there's that one way that'll actually get her inside. And this is things that, in a big corporate company, they might just be go deal with it.
Yeah.
But if you guys take that step, and you guys do, to get to know the situation, get to know the pets beforehand, then, it's going to be a lot more comfortable for both you guys and the pets, because, it's not their mommy or daddy letting them in. It's you guys.
Yeah. Again, it goes back to the trust in us, in our team. It's, it's something that I think also the staff really understand how important that is, and how it's not something that's just easily handed out for people.
So I want to ask you a question, because, doing something like dog walking or taking care of pets is not the normal job. Because, for instance, for me as a freelance videographer, when I say that, people are like, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, oh, I go and I'll work with a business for a couple hours, and then I'll do this, and then I'll do that. Has it been a difficult process to get people who are interested in working with you guys, because it's not the typical 9 to 5?
Oh, working for us?
Well, with you, for you. For
the company.
Yes.
I mean, if I come to you and say, hey, Celia, do you want to get paid to hang out with dogs? There's a little bit of an appeal there. At the end of the day, what really I think attracts people, the people that we end up hiring to this company, is they're passionate about being with animals and working with animals. So we've got people who have been, vet techs, who have worked in animal hospitals, who have volunteered in shelters, or just love being around animals because, we train them with all the necessary steps and protocols that they need to know. But if someone's main focus when they come to work for us or work with us as a company is about money, they're not a good fit. You could, we know you're here to make money. That's the purpose of a job, but we want to know that you're here for something beyond just making money. We want to know that you're here because you love the animals, because over time, I can't tell you how many employees have messaged us saying, I miss so-and-so and I miss this dog, because you build relationships with these dogs. I've been doing this for 10 years. I have dogs that I've, been taking care of since they were a little puppy 10 years ago, and we're still taking care of them. You build these really strong relationships with these animals, and it's something very special.
Yeah, and I can tell how passionate you are about, the relationships with these animals, the relationship with your team, your clients, and obviously, all of the efforts that you've been putting forward for the past. I keep bringing it up because it's really important. You've been doing this for over 10 years. So what does it mean to you? If you can go back and say something to Dan from 10 years ago about where you are today, like what would you tell past Dan?
Can I tell him a few things?
You could tell him as many things as you want.
All right. Number one would be like in your mid to late 20s, cool it with pizza, man, because it's going to hit you real hard. Don't think you could skip working out. You can't do that. It's going to catch you, and you're going to have to pay for it big time. So that'd be number one. In all seriousness, like making sure you take care of yourself is something that I think I have learned a lot in the past few years. I've always, I've been a bit of a, I guess you can call it workaholic. I'm
familiar with that.
I used to never see the value of taking time off. Because when I was in the middle of growing this business, when I was, a crazy, young 20-something, I was going to school full time, building this company, building the tech company, building a nonprofit organization. I was working 18, 19 hours a day. I was getting 3 hours of sleep, 4 hours of sleep. And, that's okay, 23, 25, 26. But you start to get older, it starts to have an impact on you. And about 3 years ago, I met my lovely girlfriend who has initially forced upon me, but has really gotten me to do a lot of things to ensure that I'm taking care of myself. So stop eating pizza, make sure you take time to take care of yourself. And you need to learn from other people and stop thinking you know everything, you arrogant butt. Because, man, I was so arrogant. Like, I'm like mildly arrogant now, but like, looking back on it, like just unbearable. I would have wanted to punch myself in the head.
Well, you have lessons, I guess.
Yes.
I'm not going to say that you're going to punch yourself in the head, but
No, we don't support violence. But one thing I do want to say is, one, thank you everybody for listening to me blather on. I do hope you and all your loved ones are all safe and healthy throughout all this. Remember to wash your hands and all that good stuff. But, I know this has not been an easy thing for people to go through, but I hope everyone is safe and healthy.
100%. And hopefully we're on the tail end of this, but we never know. So keep being safe, everyone.
Fingers crossed.
We do have a question real quick, and it says, do you walk cats?
We have walked cats, Kenny. And also, speaking of Kenny is an incredible, incredible person. Him and his wife run the No Kill Project.
Oh,
and
hi, Kenny.
We actually went on a trip down to Texas back in 2017. His wife, Isabel, contacted me after Hurricane Harvey hit, and she was like, I'm thinking of getting some donations together and driving down. I was like, well, we could get some donations together. I think within 24 hours, I was like, you know what? I'll come with you. And we rented a van, and we went down there. We ended up coming back with 24 dogs and cats. And it couldn't have happened without Kenny, because while Isabel and myself were dealing with all the animals, he managed to MacGyver a full kennel in a van that we rented with like zip ties and duct tape. Like, we came back, we were like, how did you do this? So, Kenny, I love you. I miss you. Hey, Moro.
Love you, Kenny.
Kenny says Moro says he loves you too, Kenny.
Well, Kenny, if you ever want to come on the show, you're more than welcome to reach out, and you can be on here to talk about your project as well.
Kenny and Isabel would be wonderful guests.
Well, they are more than welcome on my show. So, Dan, we are coming up on the end of the hour, and I know that you are a very, very busy man. So
for now.
How would be the best way for people to get a hold of you guys and find you guys on the internet? I know I have some links in the description, but I would love to hear it from you.
So, one, if you want to contact Dan's Dog Walking, you can just Google Dan's Dog Walking and Pet Sitting. Our website will come up. We're just danspetcare.com. We're actually Dan's Pet Care on pretty much all the social media except for Facebook. And then we're on Bite. Shout out to our in-house Bite partner, Moro. We're on Bite as Dan's. And if you wanted to get in contact with me directly, you could just message me on Instagram. My handle is just my first and last name, Daniel Reitman. But Moro and myself answer questions on our Instagram and Facebook as well. So I'm pretty easy to get in contact with. But yeah, danspetcare.com or danielreitman.com. How many other ways can I plug myself?
Podcast.
The podcast. Let's Talk About Cool Animals. What else? Anything else we want to plug? What? Oh yeah, please go follow us on TikTok. for the life of me, I cannot figure out this platform. Julian is working hard at trying to build our TikTok following. I'm too old. I don't understand it. It makes no sense. We make amazing videos and nobody likes them on there. It makes no sense to me. So follow us on TikTok. All the things. Follow us on.
The trends. And Dan, do you have any closing words of wisdom for us? No pizza?
Yeah, I do actually. I'm gonna read the thing that I have on my wall in my office, and it's a quote by Samuel Beckett, and it's ever tried, ever failed, no matter, try again, fail better. So we'll end on that. Never stop trying, never stop failing, never stop improving.
I love that. That's such a great way to end this episode. And I'm so appreciative that you had the time to sit down with us today, because I know that you guys are gearing up because you guys are starting back up on Monday. So,
yes.
Things probably are super crazy right now, but I'm glad that you were able to come here, and maybe there are a few people from the island that are going to be getting in touch to have you guys work with their pets.
If you need us, we're here to love and care for your pets. So whatever you need, we're here for you. And thank you, Celia, for having me on. I really appreciate it. And I'd love to come on again in the future and blather on to all of your lovely fans. And, thank you for doing what you're doing. I know that it's not always easy to put yourself out there, but keep doing what you're doing. I'm loving all the content you're making, and it's been really cool seeing you do this stuff.
Oh, thank you. And you are welcome back. Maybe in like 6 months when, you take over the entire island or something, we'll have you back and be like, hey, remember me, that guy that, with the big beard?
This is my quarantine beard, by the way. My girlfriend really wants me to shave it. Or trim it, not shave it.
Months, you'll have no beard, and people will be like, who's this guy? And then you'll be like, well, now we have people all over the world doing Dan's dog walking, and this is how you could get involved.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm going to pull you off of here, and I'm going to close the episode up. If you stick around for a second after the closing, I will thank you off camera.
Beautiful. Thank you, everybody. Stay safe. Wash your hands.
All right, everyone. So we had such a great episode today. I had so much fun, and I hope that you guys did in the comments. Is that what we're calling it? Watching the live stream. So if you guys want to watch this from the beginning, where I kind of tripped up and, it was 1,000,000 degrees, you can check it out on the Celia Werner Productions Facebook page. You can listen to this later today on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, SoundCloud, YouTube, and wherever else I figure out that I can put my podcast. I really want to thank Dan again for coming on. He had a lot of amazing insight in both, the business aspect of dog walking, as well as, working with people, working with pets, and everything in between. So if you guys want to, be sure to check out Dan's pages and follow them and follow up with them if you have a pet that you need taken care of. I ramble on these endings every day. We're doing shows Monday through Friday. So if you guys want to come back, be sure to come back tomorrow for another amazing guest, and be sure to like, share, comment, if you guys liked the content, because, I'm making sure that I get some good educational stuff out to you. So I will see you guys tomorrow, and I hope you have a great day. It is nice and sunny out, so go take a nice walk. Because we had a dog walking company on today. All right, I'm going to go. Bye.